We are pleased to welcome in now Women's World Cup champion, two-time NWSL champion, Shield winner. She's got a whole list of accolades, but frankly, the one we care about the most is 2017 NWSL champion with the Portland Thorns, Meghan Klingenberg. Meghan, welcome in.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. And I'm stoked to kind of relive this. I haven't talked about it in a long time.
She still plays too, lest we not forget. Current player at the Portland Thorns right now, defender. But we're going to throw it back to 2017, Meghan, because we like to relive the glory days and let the players that have absolutely dominated and won NWSL championships talk about it. So 2017, Portland Thorns against North Carolina Courage, the new North Carolina Courage. It was a number 1 against number 2 final. But what do you remember about the 2017 NWSL championship?
The thing that honestly sticks out most to me is when Tobin Heath absolutely obliterated Taylor Smith in the very first 3 minutes of the game. And I thought we were going to be playing down a player. And I'm like, fuck. Oh, am I allowed to say that? Sorry, you can bleep me.
Okay.
Go with it.
Absolute God damn it, freaking out. And I don't even think there was a call. And I was like, what is happening? This is outrageous. So that sticks out the most. But I think what was really cool about that championship team is that we were grinders. We worked hard all year. We put so much pressure on other teams. I think that we were probably one of the very hardest teams to play against in the league because of how much pressure and how much commitment we had to our defending shape. And that was a really fun team to be on because when players are working that hard, you win the ball in really high spaces, really good spaces. Instead of having to build and beat 11 players, we were having to build and beat maybe 4 because we win it off the back line. And so that was a really fun team to be a part of.
Yeah, I will say this. I definitely have shared with our audiences, and there's a certain point in my life and I guess career where I am finally okay, I remember being at these finals, and this was one of them for me. And I also, when we were kind of content planning, I'm like, you know what I remember about this final? How physical it was. That's what I remember about this final. So I love that you're leading with that right off the bat, because that is what a lot of people remember from this championship. Something else I remember from this championship, and really this season for the Thorns in 2017, is that Lindsay Horan and Emily Sonnet were just in their kind of sophomore seasons with the club. And lo and behold, they are the two players that kind of end up linking up for what's ultimately the game winner in this match. Just, what was it like, playing with them in really early phases of their career, and what has it been like kind of watching them kind of evolve in their progression for club and for country?
Well, Lindsay's definitely one of my favorite players that I've ever played against played with. I got thrown off because I got just made really big and I don't see anybody else anymore. Where did you all go? Come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lindsay's by far one of my favorite midfielders that I've ever played with. I feel like we developed a really important chemistry for the Thorns and was able to feed her the ball in ways that set her up to be really successful. And it was really fun watching her kind of grow into the player that we needed her to be and the player that we knew that she could be. And she became an engine out there for us. And you should have seen how hard she worked in the off season, how hard she worked on the down times, because she would be doing all of this fitness and she would cover so much more ground than any other midfielder. And I still haven't seen a midfielder cover that much ground in this league. But it was incredible because it allowed us to attack and defend in ways that other teams weren't able to.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her to get the goal, I think, was just a testament to the work that she had been doing, that we have been watching, that we have been helping her with. And it was really nice to see her kind of get the recognition that she earned and put in. And then with Sonnet, Sonnet's had such an interesting journey. She's such a good, I want to say kid, but she's not a kid anymore. She's a full-grown woman, adult. But she's really grown a lot, and it's been so fun to watch the trajectory of her career and how she's been able to create kind of like this, I don't know how to explain it. Like, she's so versatile that she can do all of these different teams, things for different teams that she's on, whether it's the national team, whether it's her club team, and she's able to do it well in all of those positions. And it's because Sonnet loves to pass and move, and combining as a center back is really scary. It's the place in the field where you're like, holy shit, I do not want to lose it here.
Yep.
And there's nobody saving you except for the goalkeeper. So for her to have that bravery and that confidence, and watching her continue to develop that when I think other players don't do that as much, has been really a pleasure to watch.
Mm-hmm. Sonnet does such a good job distributing when she's as a center back, and then when teams push her higher up, right? Like, she's played as the 6, not internationally, and you can see the passes that she wants to make as a center back, and then she's able to do them as a 6 and a defensive midi. It's so fun to watch Sonnet play. Okay, so both of you now have touched on how physical this game was. 2017 NWSL Championship. What the heck was happening, Meghan? Why was it so chippy out there?
Well, it's because it was a championship and we both wanted to win. And I think these are really friggin' tough players. And if you look back at all the players that were out there, they were not only incredibly skilled, but they were grinders, and they work really hard, and they love to battle. And that's what happens when 2 of those teams meet in the final. And I think it was funny because the fans tried to create a narrative about how it was, unfair, or how it was, like we were like a little bit evil in the way that we were playing. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Like, that's what a referee is there for.
Yep.
And also, I think both teams are going at it just as hard. And I loved that about it. I thought that was such a fun game to be a part of, because it's not like there was bad soccer being played either. It was intense. It was physical. It was a final. And, we got to see some pretty good soccer with some pretty high moments. Like, I remember when we hit the crossbar, I think they hit the crossbar. Like, there was some drama in that final. And I think that's what everybody's paying to watch. So I don't know why people were upset about that final. I feel like it brought everything.
It absolutely did. I've rewatched it before we talked about it. We get to rewatch the full game, which is really fun for me. And it was a good battle between these two sides. So when you think back to that 2017 Thorns team, how would you describe the style of football that you guys played?
It was a really interesting season because in 2016, we were a possession-oriented team. We won the Shield. And then we actually lost to North Carolina, which previous team was Western New York Flash, right? So same team, really. And we lost them in the semifinals. And we knew that we had to be a little bit different because we needed to be a bit more ruthless in our attack. And so we started out that year as we were in 2016. And we were like, okay, we need to make a shift, and we need to create chances higher up. We need to be a little bit more direct, because we need to be able to keep the ball, but also attack in different ways, and not just allow teams to sit underneath us and clog spaces for us. So we actually changed shape about halfway through, and we changed into a 3-5-2. Yep, 3-5-2. And I was playing wing back, and Ashley Sykes was playing the other wing back, and it was psychotic because we were the ones that were having – when you play a 3-back basically, or 5-back essentially, the numbers are in the back line. So if you have a forward step out of shape, or if you have a midfielder step out of shape, that means that they're going to have kind of a domino effect. You find the player that they leave, and then you can kind of play out of space and get past them. So what we had to do was bring our player out of the back 4, because that is the place where we had the numbers. Or sorry, the back 5. And so you basically have to pressure their outside back. And what teams learn is that they have to sit low. So they'll sit low in their back line, And then it's a very, very long run for a wing back to be able to pressure the outside back. But it was really important for us to do that because we knew that if we get pressure higher up the field, then we're like, it's scarier for the other team and we're better that way. So we were encouraged to get up there all the time, and it ended up working out really well for us. And we kind of stuck with that the rest of the year.
Yeah, you logged some miles in that wingback position, Meghan.
100%. A lot of ground that was covered. And I love that you touched on that because I think that's something that we see in more recent NWSL seasons as well. It's like maybe you are playing a certain way and it's getting those results for the team, but maybe you find yourself at a different stretch of the season where you're making that playoff push, or you find yourself in the postseason where maybe you got to shake things up. And it was very interesting kind of hearing Mark Parsons on some of the pregame stuff in this final where he talked about bringing a little bit of a physicality into this game because it would be a necessity for the Thorns if they wanted to lift the championship in the end. Maybe something else a little bit X-factory I remember from this final, and you touched on it slightly, was the fan support for the Thorns. I think we got to see that on display in another championship final, how incredible it is to see this type of fan support that also travels away. You're talking Pacific Northwest to southeast of the country because the final was held in Orlando.
Yeah.
And something that I remember was that they were very loud, very vocal. It provided a bit of that good kind of energy and environment that you want to see, even if you're taking it in as a neutral at these games. I remember very vividly the F and NC Courage chants. Can you just speak a little bit about sort of having been a part of this club for some time and kind of really being witness to sort of that unwavering support from then to even now?
Yeah, there's definitely very special things about this club. One of them is the core group of players that have stayed here for a long time and created a culture around our playing style and the way that we go about things. And then to me, even bigger is the fan support. And because players come and go, right? And fans can be there forever. What's so cool about our fandom is that it's a community of people who otherwise might not meet that come together because they really love this certain thing. And that certain thing happens to be the Portland Thorns. And they are incredibly organized, incredibly generous. They come with support even when, it's probably hard to support. And I have never appreciated fans more than these ones, because if you look at other sports in soccer or even like the Philadelphia Eagles, like the fans get mad, and rightly so, they get mad. I understand. And at the same time, it's not like we're trying to lose. So It's nice to have that support, know that you're going to have another person out there on the field with you. That's what it feels like. And they're just incredible, and I can't thank them enough. They've made my career here incredibly special and memorable, and I truly am in awe of them every match. I don't think there's any more creative fans either. Like, their tifos are top. I'm talking like all around the world, they're top. They're so like clever and creative, and I really appreciate what they do.
Yeah, they have some incredible stuff.
You were made full screen there, so you couldn't see me, but I was shaking my head when you're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles fans. I'm a ride or die Bird gang over here. We're not hard.
I've heard some boos around the stadium.
We're not. No, we just want you to work hard and be honest with us. That's all we want.
You tapped into.
I don't think I'm going to take this foot on.
Whoever thought this was a soccer podcast, it's actually a football podcast.
Yeah, now we're shifting to American football. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. We love to see it though. Like we find ourselves chatting about the evolution of many things in NWSL since its beginning in early days, and now that it's in this new decade, this new era, sort of feels like the trajectory of the league is taking on a lot of different roles and a lot of different facets. And I think something that's also very interesting to kind of make a connection, more kind of going down this time machine, and looking ahead and spinning things forward is that during 2017, we also kind of saw the very early stages and early beginnings of the formation of what eventually became an NWSL Players Union. And so Yael Averbuch-West kind of like taking the lead on that. And again, we're talking very humble beginnings here. I'm pretty sure it was like a group chat at some point, and then like an email chain. But now, this is an official AFL-CIO recognized member. We are watching the players do incredible work for, bargaining in their collective bargaining agreements. And now there's a 2.0 version of that. And you are someone with this Thorns side that, yes, was a member of this Portland Thorns team, but in these early days of an NWSL Players Association, there was almost kind of like a split because USWNT players had a union representing them. There was still technically a player allocation system in place. Mm-hmm. There was some weird, red tape. I just really want to get your perspective and would love to have you speak a little bit on the evolution of that, the labor rights fight within the league and the fight for minimum standards or better standards in NWSL.
There is nothing more important to the growth of this league than the players' commitment to creating a powerful union. And I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. Like, we are the ones that have created the value for the owners in this league. And as you watch like the salaries go up, what kills me is you watch these valuations grow up and they're exponential. And sometimes owners are buying like these teams that don't have any training facilities, don't have any stadiums of their own, don't have anything built. And basically what they're buying is the marks and the players. And I'm like, wow, I really, really want us to remember how important and how valuable that we actually are. I think the U.S. Women's National Team Players Union and the NWSL Players Union have made incredible strides in this country, not only for women's soccer players, but also for women and marginalized communities in general. Creating equal pay, creating a more balanced playing field is some of the most important work that you can do as a person. And I never want any of us to undervalue that. And I want everybody to remember that these players that have come through have not only been working a full-time job, playing soccer, and commitment to being the very best that they could possibly be, chasing down mastery, but they also are creating an environment that is more safe, pays more, more valuable, helps players reach new potential, all in there like as a side hustle, and I don't think that we can thank those players enough. I don't think we can thank the people that have headed up the union enough. And I think that as we look and see how powerful these unions are and they create more value for players and better opportunities, that hopefully that spreads into other workforces as well. Because I can't imagine anything more powerful coming out of my career than helping in some way to secure equal pay for women in sports, because sports is just a microcosm of society, isn't it?
Yep.
And when we look around, we see like unfair playing fields, we see different starting lines, we see, women and people of color and marginalized communities being abused in ways that our white, cisgender, straight male friends don't have to worry about. And we've used the power of our collective to create a place where people want to be and people feel safe and people can be their best selves and can chase down their dreams. And that's really cool and amazing. And I hope that kind of collective power spreads throughout the rest of the world and the country, because there are just too many federations, leagues around the world where women are not getting opportunities whatsoever. And even in the United States, there's just a lot of room for growth.
Yeah. There is. Meghan, please know that you have done a lot for not only the sport, but for equal pay, for marginalized groups, for everyone, because the visibility that women's football brings to those communities and to those players is huge. It's huge. So know that you have. You're like, I hope I've done it. You have. You have. And I hope that even with the evolution of having a second iteration of a CBA in the league has helped to kind of shine some light on that for players that are still in it, like yourself, that are still fighting a good fight every single day. Even though all the steps have been made, there's still a lot of progress that has been made and that cannot be forgotten. And it's because of players like you. Hands down.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate you saying that a lot.
You're welcome.
And it's also important to hear you touch on it in this way because it's, you know, we're talking about 2017, which is not that long ago. So
it's really not. We've made a lot of progress in a short amount of time. But obviously we have a lot of progress to catch up on. And what's funny about women's sports is I actually think that they have a much higher threshold of whatever you consider success. But to me, I think we can be even more successful than men's sports. There's just way more room to grow. There's way more amazing storylines to be tapped. And I'm excited to see what we do because I feel like we probably shouldn't think about equal. We should think about our own capacity and our own limits. And I guess I don't even think that we have limits. I think we should keep trying to see where we can go.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that, Meghan. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that and opening up on it. Before we close out, I want to kind of tie a string from 2017 to 2024 and now, because back in 2017, Orlando Pride in the league, they had signed this Brazilian, this legend who is still
who?
Yeah, you may have heard of her, everyone.
Yeah.
It was her first year in the NWSL with Orlando in 2017. Hey, that was no match for the Thorns in the playoffs. You just bounce them 4-1 in the first round of the playoffs. When you think back to that match and playing against Marta in the NWSL in 2017, how different is it compared to playing against her in 2024?
Well, actually, I played with her in Sweden in 2013, 2014, and that was a friggin' blast. I loved
Better
that.
than playing against her, huh?
Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, she was my 11. I was 3. So she was playing in front of me, and I got to build and connect with Marta for a year or two. I was like, this is amazing. And she just works so hard off the ball. She works so hard in defense. She really puts in a shift for her teammates, and she does that in Orlando as well. So it's really cool to see the evolution of her. And I think as she's gotten older, you can see that she plays differently. And Marta used to be more about her power and running with the ball at pace and just keeping it glued to her foot. And she's running faster than every single person with the ball at her foot. And that's how she was in Sweden. And now I think she's more about combining, playing 1 and 2 touch, passing and moving, taking players on to create a shot opportunity, to create a cross opportunity. And she's still incredible. It's not that she has to do it differently. It's that she's chosen to do it differently so she can still be at a high level. And that's what makes a really great player. So watching the evolution of her game has been really cool because there's really not that many players that can just change up their entire style and still be the best. And Marta can.
She can. That's so true. Okay, Meghan, we appreciate your time and for doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One more thing before we close out.
Yeah.
We are creating an Attacking Third playlist where we are adding songs from players that we talk to, anyone that we have on the show to put their song onto our playlist so we can jam pre-show.
Ooh, nice.
What is this song that Meghan Klingenberg is listening to or a song that's on your playlist always, something that we should add to ours?
Okay, well, people will probably be like, oh, that's so whatever. I am currently into Chapel Rowan so much, and I know everybody else is as well, but I will say that I've been listening to Chapel for a while as a queer person. We definitely knew about her for a while. And I'm so stoked that everybody else has found out about her. because she deserves it. She's really incredible. And I feel like there was just a point during this past year where I was just like super down and like really sad about just like things in general. And her music really like brought me to a place where I could dance again. And I know if I'm dancing and singing, then I'm like being me. And if I'm not dancing and singing, that's people should probably check in on me, you know? And Chapel was the person that helped me get back to being me. And so she has a very special place in my heart this year. And I've just been crushing her album and listening to everything that she's been putting out. So pick one because
I love it.
Yeah.
Can you give us one or two that we can? Like, I like Chapel too. I listen a lot, but what's like on the top of your list right now?
I'm really into Red Wine and Hot to Go, and I've been like, you know, changing up the words a bit and like trying to keep up with the
yes.
like, I can't even go fast enough sometimes.
I think Hot to Go is quite possibly so perfect for soccer supporters if they want to have fun with that, right? And tweak it. So I think that's a really great one.
It's the new YMCA.
There you go.
It absolutely is. Meghan, thank you so much. Hot to Go, Chaperone, add it to the playlist. And thanks for taking a trip down memory lane to chat 2017 NWSL Championship. Good luck the rest of the year this weekend with Portland. We're cheering for you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks so much. This was fun.